day over the weekend, and I got the pictures back because it was on my account, and I was looking through the pictures, and I think one of the couples thought that the pictures were going to be like they would get to take them home and develop them because there was a very inappropriate picture in the bundle, and I deleted it before I sent it to the bride and groom. But I was like, wow, this is a little scandalous.
Wait, so you got film developed, but then they gave it to you like on a digital copy?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get prints.
I don't think that there's even anyone that develops the film anymore, right? Like they just stick it in a machine.
Billy, are you even old enough, Billy, to remember these little shacks that existed in parking lots of like
Kodak shacks
of grocery stores that you had to go? You're not old enough to know what it's like to go to a tiny shack where they develop film on cameras. Stugotz and I,
Yes, Eckerd's Drugs. Everyone down here in South Florida, I don't know if this is a national thing, but Eckerd Drugs is where you get film developed.
I'll have you know, I was in photography club, and we've been over this. Photography, let's not go down that path again.
Wait, what's wrong with photography?
Oh, Jesus, let's not go down this path again. Stugotz, let's not do this, Billy. Come on. Like, what do you do? Billy, go ahead, Billy.
I love this
Let's
path.
do it again. Go ahead.
Wait, I mean, it just, it's anyone can be a photographer. I don't think I've gotten to that point yet, but, you just point, you hit the button, 8,000 pictures are taken, and eventually you get the right shot.
Right.
Roy, what did you just say to me?
It's a numbers game, Dano.
You just gave in, Dan. Why? Why'd you cave in?
Digital photography in particular.
I will explain
film
this.
photography is different.
I will tell you, Roy, why I gave in. I noticed this the other day. There has been near my home a fire hydrant that has been slightly leaking for the entire time I've lived there. And the other day I noticed that the pavement there is much lower now because of that droplet every day for years that made it happen so that the cement is weaker.
Erosion.
Erosion, yes. That is what Billy has done to me. Like, I don't even want to argue anymore. Like, okay, he wants to tell us again that photographers aren't talented. Go ahead. Tell Jessica. She has not heard this. Go ahead and insult every photographer ever.
He's right.
It's not an insult. Look, Lewis wrote in the chat that he takes 2,000 pictures and delivers 100. Everybody knows it's a numbers game. I'm sorry I feel like the magician that's ruining the trick for people, right? Like, guys, again, I was in photography club. I know the way that it works.
Expert.
Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
But there's still an art behind photography, the rule of thirds, framing. There's all kinds of things that go into it. It's not just pointing a camera and aiming. I imagine a shitty photographer can take some shitty pictures, even if he took 2,000 of them.
But this is Billy. Billy, go ahead and just do your impersonation. This is what Billy can reduce what a photographer does to a sound. All art that falls under photography. Billy, what's the sound?
Sorry, I'm getting myself ready.
Sounds like a sprinkler system.
He's great at it. It's great.
Walk by a photographer. I miss the days where you had to go behind a curtain and you hold up the thing and then it shot out like the powder. It was like,
one shot, right?
And then it took you 10 years to figure out if the person blinked or not.
Didn't Joaquin Phoenix have that famously as a job in some movie where he was crazy, the photographer at the mall who would slip behind some sort of fabric in order to take a gunpowder photo of a couple at the Sears wedding station?
I went to Sears for a family photo once.
Yeah, Sears Photo Studios or whatever it's called. That was great.
Can that still be a thriving business, the Sears photo family?
No, it's impossible.
Sears isn't a thriving business anymore.
I think they closed down.
I don't think, Chris, it's moving too fast in a million different realms. Stugotz just today, this was good morning for me with Stugotz. He comes in, he bursts through the door as he always does, flashes a bunch of sausage fingers at me, and then says, "Did you realize the debit card is already antiquated?"
I can't believe it. I mean, the guys are making fun of me for using a debit card. They said it's embarrassing. It's like, it's the time where I left a voicemail for Mike and he called me back and he said, "You're embarrassing yourself. Just call. Don't leave a voicemail. I'll see that you called and I'll call you back." I mean, Dan, I don't know what's happening. I mean, time is moving so quickly. Things are changing so rapidly. I don't know what's I don't know what's cool anymore and what's not cool. A debit card? People are going to laugh at me if I use a debit card? Go bleep yourself, Tony.
It's dead. The debit card is dead. All we use is credit and,
a debit card.
Yeah, thank you.
But Stugotz, your voicemails are pretty useless because you
They
leave
are.
me like 4 or 5 a day. And it's like, hey, buddy, it's Stugotz. Call me back. And it's like, well, I know that. I know it's you. It says it
Well,
on
then
my
call me
phone.
back.
have to
I mean-
call- yeah.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo, at LeBatard Show. Do you leave voicemails? Yes or no? And also put on the poll, do you listen to voicemail?
Or you could, just text. You could do that. Instead of calling. It's quicker.
Text would be
Driving.
great. The voicemails that Stugotz leaves are the same that my dad leaves, which is, I see what time you left the message. I see that you called. And the voicemail is, hey, Mike, it's about 4 o'clock. Just gave you a ring. Call me back.
That's a voicemail.
Like, I know. I know.
That's how you do it. I mean, I've been doing it my entire life.
It's inefficient. Telling me to call you back is inefficient.
I have told you guys, and I can't believe that Stugotz and I have become this. Mike Ryan is laughing in a stunned face of a stubbled,
just
broken
doesn't grasp.
Stugotz.
I don't
He's
understand
confused.
why.
He needs to leave
How do
his
you know?
name
I
at a
mean-
time. It's how he's always done it.
Gives you a message. Stugotz called at 4 o'clock. I know that I should give Stugotz a call back. I don't need a voicemail saying, "Hey, buddy, it's 4 o'clock."
Stugotz
Call
I
me
want
back.
you to know that I called. I mean,
I have rarely seen Stugotz as hurt as you guys telling him that his voicemails don't matter to you. He thought that leaving you a
I
piece
love
of,
a good voicemail.
of his voice, even if it was just telling you what time it is that he called, he thought that was something that you would treasure. And he's also trying to figure out how to make that a non-fungible token he can sell now for people who want to just hear his voicemails or maybe repurpose them on Cameo.
His voicemails are like Russell Westbrook from 3. It's just inefficient.
I'm staring at a mirror of danger. I wonder if I'm going to be frozen in time technologically. Does this happen to everyone? Does everyone just stop learning technology? Because I feel like Stugotz at one point was super into voicemails, might have even had the creative one, might have had the one where you play the song for the voicemail and then come on after the song, or do like the Costanza, and voicemail was a big part of his life, but you're frozen in that time where voicemails mattered.
I will tell you something, Whittingham, that is jarring to me to experience, and I imagine people my age in the audience, though they are fewer and fewer because Stugotz and I are becoming the 50s and 60s Sirius channel.
You're also not the generation that listens to podcasts.
That's correct. That is right. I have become my grandparents, so I've told you guys the story. Throughout college, I would get my grandfather, my uncle, and their sister would call me together, and I would perpetually get voicemails of them talking amongst themselves and arguing after the beep. I don't know what happened. He was just talking to us. And then he stopped talking because they spoke Spanish and the voicemail was in English. And they're like, I don't know. He was talking. I don't think he could hear us. And so that's what I would hear on the voicemail. And the thing that was jarring to me, and nobody made an announcement, there was not a memo. Hey, we're not doing phone calls anymore. We're just not doing it anymore. There was not an announcement of this. Just everyone graduated to, I'm going to text you. I'm going to just send you a note and I'm going to not have a personal interaction. There was not an announcement. Like, I imagine there are things like that, like the debit card that just happened to Stugotz, like me with cash. I mean, honest to God.
He uses cash.
You have a wallet. You have a wallet. You fool. What? What do you even have a wallet? Wow.
Fiat money.
I laughing at?
Hand me a barcode. I'll send you some fiat.
I feel every time like I pay cash, like I am dressed as a dinosaur. That I am a T-Rex with short arms walking into a place and everyone's confused and scared. What is that doing here? Why is it here? That's from another time. But Stugotz loves leaving voicemails
I
like
do.
this one for Boog Shambi, where he told him that soon in the future he would go to his charitable event that he had promised to go to that he hasn't been to in the 10 years since.
Boogie, it's Wayne. Hope all is well. Give me a call when you can. Sorry it took me a while to get to you. So here's the deal. I got, as badly as I want to come up and do this, the timing on it's just, I got, as I told you via text, I got a really good friend of mine, son's bar mitzvah Saturday night, and I have the Sunshine State lacrosse tournament Saturday and Sunday that weekend. So, and I coach the team. It's my daughter's team. So, yeah, it's going to be tough for me, bud. I'm sorry. Like, and to come up Friday, and fly back Saturday, that's, although I'm not entirely ruling it out, I just got to wait and see what time my games are on Saturday. If there's a morning game Saturday, it's going to make it pretty difficult, considering I'm the head coach and probably need to be there for that big tournament of the year. So I should have the schedule in the next day or two. So if I can't make it up, and if I do come up, I can only come up that Friday. If I can't make it up, I want to make a donation. Just let me know other ways I can help. And, and if it's an annual thing, it's up to me doing it again next year, then I'll definitely be there and just plan accordingly for it. So, all right. Call me when you can. Miss you. Love you. Want to catch up with you. We'll talk to you soon, pal. Bye.
That's a good voicemail, Dan. I mean, that's how you leave a voicemail. That's why
It's
I love
good.
them.
It's a really good voicemail, actually. I'm back on Stugotz's side.
Not only is it a good voicemail, it is also the plume of feces-scented smoke that he always blows in me and Mike's face when he doesn't actually want to do something and shrouds it in lies. I'll be there maybe Friday. I'm arguing with myself. I'm really torn when he has no intention of even checking flights or anything else. It's just something to say to feel better about the betrayal.
Did you actually make that donation, by the way?
No way.
No.
No way. And you definitely didn't go the next year, the year after that. You didn't plan accordingly the next year or the year after that.
I did not. No. I'm not even certain we had a lacrosse tournament that weekend.
Well, I think that might have been where your lacrosse mitzvah thing was born, those are your signature excuses. Here's a Jewish party over here. Here's this. You're going to be using the excuse of your daughter's lacrosse tournament 17 years after they've stopped playing lacrosse.
Yeah. Just so you know, I have 4 years remaining. So anytime I use that after 4 years, you'll know I'm lying.
We're on to you. What's the new batch of lies going to look like? I'd like to hear a voicemail from the late Bob Einstein. I have not seen this documentary on HBO, but I do enjoy almost all of HBO's documentaries. Has anyone here seen it?
Yeah, I did actually over the Christmas break. It was one of those things where you don't know about, like, because people talked about Super Dave, but I had no idea what that was. And it's just so funny that, like, it's all just 4 minutes of setup for him to get run over by a bus week after week after week after week.
And it's just like some cheap dummy getting run over.
It was such a good comedic device where he decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create a crappy Evel Knievel.
It's so great.
And I'm never going to break character. I'm just going to keep going on Letterman as a guy who's a daredevil who never succeeds.
The best bit of the documentary, in my view, was he does this whole gag in a drive-through with Jimmy Kimmel.
He's done that joke so many times.
Okay, so it's like 4 minutes of him like taking orders in a drive-through, blah blah blah, and then the drive-through blows up. So Jimmy Kimmel is telling this story.
It's the best.
So Jimmy Kimmel's telling the story.
The drive-through gets run over by a bus. The drive-through he's sitting in.
Exactly. So Jimmy Kimmel's telling the story of, like, oh man, it was such a pain in the ass. It was really expensive. It was at a time in the show when we couldn't really go to Disney and ask for more money, blah blah blah, just for a 4-minute bit that was barely funny. And then he's like, one day is going back to look at it on YouTube and discovers that he had done the exact same bit 20 years earlier on the Johnny Carson show.
Every 10 or 20 years.
Beat for
a
beat,
new audience.
beat for beat, joke for joke. The exact same bit.
A new generation.
Unbelievable.
He tricked Kimmel. Yes. There were, between him and Chris Elliott, oh God, this renegade time. It made me so sad to hear Letterman sound like a doddering old man at the Kevin Durant, at a press scrum, because Letterman is a legend who gave birth to all these characters who were hiding in the shadows. And Super Dave and Bob, his Bob Einstein is his name, and Albert Brooks is his brother. I did not know that before meeting him, that Albert Brooks was his brother.
He goes by Albert Brooks because you don't want to go by Albert Einstein.
That is correct. And so here is what's the context for Super Dave, the late Bob Einstein, leaving us a message? Was it for Allison?
This was for Allison, who was our guest booker. And at the time, we had a show curse where everybody who was of a certain age that would join our show would tragically pass away shortly thereafter. So Super Dave,
Not everybody. Come on.
well, of a certain age,
it happened too much, but not
Every
everybody.
single person.
Yeah, it was basically like a 40% clip. If you were over 60, you might be dying.
Bob Barker is still with us. We did not kill him. There were any number of people.
Pat Sajak still
there
with
were any
us.
number of people of age. Does Pat Sajak?
The one that rocked me was Bill Paxton, like because he was outside of the age group. But like 2 weeks later, gone. So Super Dave was wise to this and decided he was of a certain age and he was simply not going to join the show anymore because, as he'll tell you, he liked living.
Say I called you back. I tried 3 times calling me with those stupid questions. But here's the thing. I would love to answer those questions because I would have a lot of fun, but I like living. It's one of my favorite things to do. Get up, breathe the air, have some breakfast. If I'm working, I work. If I'm not, I'm not. That's all. It's very simple. It's black and white. I don't like to bring color into this, but it's simple. And too many people have died.
That's a well-left voicemail. Do the people listening to this even want to get a voicemail? Like, do you view it as a pain?
No, if you look at my phone, I just did. I went through all my voicemails. 95% of them have a blue dot next to it because that signifies that I haven't listened to it. Especially now that they transcribe it. Why listen?
I have an app on my phone that translates voice to text for my voicemail now. That's what we are as a society.
No, we all do too. We had it years ago with our iPhones, Android guy.
No, I actually had this.
Roy has an Android. My phone does it automatically. I don't need to get it.
You have to pay for it?
Actually, my
I bet he
store.
uses a debit card.
and withdraws cash.
He probably has a wallet.
Wallet?
Oh,
What is
you want to
that?
make a copy with carbon paper?
My phone takes
You still
better
use a
pictures than yours.
daguerreotype too?
My phone takes better pictures than every last one of you in here.
No one
I
believes
suggest-
that.
What is that?
No
tell
one
him, Roy.
believes you.
Yeah, get out of here.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate
Texts
that.
are green. You're a plague on society.
Yeah, like I care about your feelings about text. Get out of here.
So selfish.
I don't care.
What a great move by Apple to make everybody with an Android seem like an asshole. Like their whole marketing strategy against Android is your group texts with 90% of the population are going to be fine, but then there's going to be that 10% that's just an asshole.
You're a
and you're going to shame them.
You're a technological anti-vaxxer.
Yeah,
That's
well,
what
you
are.
could put that on my tombstone, Dan. Technological anti-vaxxer.
That's only a United States phenomenon. I think this is the only country where iPhone has that much market share. And the rest of the world, they just use WhatsApp. But we here in the U.S., like now,
What is
WhatsApp
WhatsApp?
is the worst. Oh, it's
God.
the
But
worst.
that makes you guys technological anti-vaxxers.
It's basically Mark Zuckerberg collecting nudie pics.
Exactly.
WhatsApp allows you internationally to communicate without a cost. It makes it a little.
Look at you.
I mean, it's not. I'm not.
Oh, Dan, there's always a cost.
I am
Dan.
not coming off of the
You'll
mountaintop.
find out in 10
with
years
the
what the cost is.
WhatsApp
Exactly.
When your
tablets
dick
there.
is all over
Well,
Twitter.
There is that. There is that. You assume it already isn't.
How do you guys pay for stuff?
I mean, credit, which is. Are you familiar with a decentralized internet Web 3?
Come on, Mike. Start him slow, Mike.
Yeah.
Start him slow.
I would.
let's start with contactless credit cards before we move on to
Yeah,
Web3.
Apple Pay.
Pay.
Yeah, Apple Pay.
I would start shorting Visa and MasterCard personally.
Is Apple going to buy ESPN?
I saw that. That's a pretty good, well-educated theory. I'm surprised Disney hasn't sold off ESPN yet because it's probably below market value from what it would have been a couple of years ago. But it'd be really wise for Disney to divest itself from ESPN, and it'd be really brilliant for Apple to just be like, instead of trying to work out, because they have in the past, can we get the Red Zone channel? Can we get an independent league and do the slow build to owning a sports market share? Why don't we just buy the sports market share and acquire the worldwide leader?
What's it worth?
ESPN? Let me read that article.
Yeah,
But-
so it was just to make it seem like it was a complete non sequitur. John Oran of the Sports Business Journal on his podcast said, like, his prediction, he was asked to give a prediction for 2022. He's like, no, in 2024, Apple will buy ESPN. And I don't think, like, that's not him just throwing shit out of left field.
Oh, no,
like,
a lot of
this is
people
like,
think that's totally reasonable.
Well,
we would talk about it all the time when we were at ESPN.
it's really on the basis of the death of the cable bundle and figuring out, is Disney ESPN going to be nimble enough to move into a new era where at some point you're going to have to disconnect yourself from the cable bundle, make ESPN a standalone service. What is that price point? Is it going to make the same money that it used to? Is it even going to be the same? And I guess John O'Ryan's prediction is Disney doesn't want that headache. They've got Disney Plus. They've got other thriving businesses. They don't need to be in this space.
Also, this space does not make them $10 million a day anymore at ESPN the way that it used to, because 120 million subscribers were paying whatever it is that they pay a month. And now people are getting off of the grid so much. A whole generation of people is not finding ESPN as necessary as before because your streaming options are so multifaceted, and a lot of people just don't want to watch cable or pay for cable the way they used to.
And historically, ESPN is kind of acting like a company that's trying to make itself attractive for an acquisition. If you kind of see what WWE is doing with their talent contracts too, it kind of seems like they're trying to position themselves for an acquisition, be it Peacock or someone else. So I think these large industry-leading entities could find themselves new homes real soon.
I don't understand, though, the mechanics. When you're talking about giants like Disney and Apple, how or where they view themselves as competitors. Because I don't know if Disney wants to let Apple Plus into, you can have sports. And by doing so, you can make Apple Plus something that it's not right now, which is you're making movies with Tom Hanks that cost a ton of money and nobody's seeing them because many people they've already decided that they've got their streaming options, and Apple Plus is not yet one of them.
So you're making them more relevant in a very competitive business.
Are you making them direct competitors? Because Disney offers something that just Apple doesn't. Disney is an entity to itself. Like you basically can't have a kid anymore and not have Disney Plus.
I'm asking you, but I'm asking you, are they competitors? Would Disney be selling to a competitor when you talk about this?
From a streaming standpoint, of course they would be.
Well, we have seen, this is what we've seen happen, right? We've watched it. Netflix got a 10 or 15 year head start on everybody on we're going to replace television. And nobody can make up that gap. Did you see what Don't Look Up, Adam McKay's film, was the first week? It was viewed by more people than anyone in the history of Netflix the first week, whatever it was, 153 million hours of viewing.
Yeah, I can't. McKay put it on the timeline. Like, he can't even fathom that many hours.
And so Netflix got this huge head start that a lot of people in the industry said is not catchable. And Disney Plus said, hold my beer, because they made so much money in the pandemic, so much money as everything else fell apart during the pandemic. Their cruises, their theme parks here and in China, they still made so much money because they simply said, okay, we'll just have streaming, and we've got kids. That demo, you guys keep producing kids, and that demo keeps needing entertainment that only we provide this way.
And Disney's like, what do kids like? They obviously like our Disney characters. They like superheroes, right? We'll buy Marvel. They like Star Wars, right? We'll buy Star Wars. So they're really good at what they do in that sector.
Do any of you have an understanding, though? Because I know we like to talk about ESPN a lot around here, and ESPN is diminished, but it's diminished at least in part because everything is in entertainment as everything fractures. So it's not worth as much as it was, 10 years ago, but it still has something like that UFC partnership. UFC just had its best year, and had its best year because it partnered with Disney, became mainstream, and they have the ability to just say individually, here on Saturday night, all of you pay $50. You want to watch this?
Right.
You're going to need to pay $50 to $100, and that's how we're doing business now. We're going straight to your credit card, not your debit card, not your cash. We're going straight to your debit card.
Dan, it has that brand, right, which is one of the most powerful brands in the world, not just sports, the most powerful brand in sports, but it has the most valuable commodity that you could possibly have right now, which is play-by-play, live play-by-play, and ESPN has a ton of it.
But what's it worth is what I'm asking you, to sell it to somebody who could be viewed as a competitor, who you allow into the game of not just sports. You're now allowing Apple Plus into the game of competing for your streaming dollars. How much money do they have to give you in order to make? I think it's more expensive for Apple than it is for others. I think if someone else tries to buy it, that there is no, outside of Apple and Amazon, I don't know that there's Google. I don't know that there's anything in the world that can buy this and have Disney be like, are we sure we want to sell it to them?
Yeah, Apple's Guillermo Benitez strolling up in a motorcycle, bringing down the sunglasses, saying, but what's my price? And it's a lot more for you than it is for anybody else.
And it wouldn't make Apple blink, right? Because we're addicted to their technology. The world is addicted to their technology. So whatever the cost, there is no cost for Apple that is too much. And if they, it appears so far with what you've seen, Stugotz, do you know how to even find Apple Plus?
No, I have no idea. No. My kids show me. If I need something, if I want to watch something there, they'll show me how to get there.
Did you see the news with Apple recently? The first ever company to be a 3 trillion market value share. Like it's pretty decent. Buy and sell everybody a couple times over. And
does Disney want that? Because it's a hell of a prediction, and it makes a lot of sense to business people. Maybe we will get Skipper and Sampson to talk about perhaps what it is that all of that is worth, because they have far more expertise in this area than we do.
I mean, ESPN as a brand, at least here in North America, it's more recognizable than even the entities it covers, I think. But that's getting more and more diluted. And I think that's why you're seeing ESPN stockpile partnerships and favoring partnerships over talent. Again, this is just setting yourself up for acquisition 101.
I wonder, Stugotz, because we talk a lot around here about ESPN, and in some ways, many of us have been raised on it. It's the vehicle that brought us sports.
How about Meadowlark? You think they should buy it? I mean, you guys
Meadowlark should buy ESPN. Well, that's the end game, Spence.
Oh, wow. We finally found out what the end game is.
I would love that. That'd be so great. We got a couple ideas.
Yeah. A few.
It'd be different.
Couple visits.
We do it
early year-end reviews for some folks.
We do it differently.
Can I do those?
Than it's being done right now. The S in ESPN would stand for Stugotz.
Yes.
The E would be international and would be for Estupido.
Thanks.